It is literally a random Wednesday, but I'm filming now because good lighting. Hello. And also, I've been feeling like shit. And so I just needed to do something productive. So here we are. I just keep napping. So like yesterday I posted a reel on my Instagram about how I like napped all day on my day off. And then I went hammocking, treated myself to a little evening. It was really nice. And then today I had work again and I came home and I slept from like 3:30 to 6:30. And then my friends had like Snapchatted me and called me and were like, Cami, like we're going to Kennedy's, you want to go to a party? And I was like, no, like I'm so tired. So that's how I'm doing right now. But this week is about mental health. Am I qualified to talk about this? Not at all. Based on the state of my mental health alone, so yeah, in short, this has not been a great week for me. I'm just like really burned out at work. I was taking a break from like the discussions and stuff on my Instagram, but to be honest, like that's not what stresses me out and like not where my burnout comes from. Like I enjoy doing that, so I'm just not sure like how helpful that was. Like I needed it because I needed to like pause something, but that's something that I really enjoy. So I just don't know that that's doing me a lot of good. But honestly, it's a good week to talk about mental health because this is gonna be real because it's just how it's been going. Yeah, I feel like people really don't talk about, when we talk about mental health, a lot of times we skip over the nitty-gritty of mental illness. So I definitely have a lot to say about that. Never fear, we will not be skipping over that because I have personal experience. So like this is a new channel, new account, new whatever, new thing I'm doing. Obviously I'm still figuring out how I want to do formatting and everything. I don't know, because I filmed part of a video about the feminism responses because the week before Mental Health Week was Feminism Week. That was the first one I did. And then I just got really overwhelmed trying to make the video, and I actually made like most of it. I had most of it like edited and done, and then it didn't save. So I took that as a sign, and I was like, no. So yeah. But like I just don't know how much I loved the way that I was doing that. I was just reading like one response and then I'd talk about it. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna read all of the questions for the week, and then I'll go through like all the responses I want to talk about in like one go, and then I'll just talk about all those responses, and then we can move on to the next day. So there's just kind of like 5 clips, like Monday through Friday, that we're going through, and not like one for every, because I think that will kind of get confusing for you guys too. So yeah, I'm gonna read out the questions in a second and we can jump in. Like I did with the feminism questions, I haven't like made a video about this or anything, so I might not have explained this, but I really tried to go through the questions in an order that made sense, like kind of from most general to most specific, or just like kind of moved progressively in a way that made sense to me. So hopefully this makes sense. But this is the order I did the questions in. So Monday's question for Mental Health Week was, do you feel like there's still a stigma around mental health, and have you personally experienced that? Just starting off pretty general, mental health conversations really involve stigma a lot. So yeah, I felt like that was a good place to start. Tuesday, we moved on to, how do you feel about surface level self-care and the wellness community, and that input on mental health that is maybe a little less like, here's how to cope with mental illness, and kind of can sometimes feel like a band-aid solution. So then Wednesday, I asked for everyone's favorite content creator that was like good for your mental health. So whether that is a mental health content creator, just someone that makes you happy, etc. Thursday, what is your personal mental health intersectionality? I didn't end up phrasing it like that in the question just because I didn't know if that made sense. But what I meant by that was like, what parts of your identity affect your mental health? Like positively, negatively, like your mental health influences how you do something, you know? Those responses were very interesting. Excited to talk about that. And then Friday, how is your mental health? How are you doing? I just wanted to know. I really liked asking that question, and I really liked getting answers. I was just like, I love you. So yeah, excited to go through these. Do you feel like there's a stigma around mental health, and have you experienced this? 100%. I've seen so many of my friends and family refuse to get the help they need because of the idea that was burned in their brain from other family members that the feelings of thoughts they gave will eventually go away. And this is especially the case for men in my family because they are taught from an early age that they can't have certain feelings because they are a man. Yeah, I think it has. I believe that it has taken a different form though. Like for me, I always fear that people in charge won't respect my boundaries or decisions to put my mental wellness first because it has happened in the past. It will probably take me a long time to unlearn my harmful habits I have learned from my superiors that cause my mental health to decline. But as long as I talk to people who are understanding and respect my mental health, I can learn to be easier on myself. I have anxiety, and I would say it's become more normalized to have anxiety, but I think there's still a stigma around the symptoms that come with anxiety, like skin picking, anxiety attacks, social anxiety, driving anxiety, etc. I also think a lot of people just think that drinking water and doing some breathing exercises cures anxiety. That may work for some people, but telling someone to just drink water and go for a walk isn't going to get rid of their anxiety or depression. Yeah, so, just so much talk about pressure from family. I think that's so interesting. I personally am really grateful for my parents. They've been really supportive of me going to therapy and my siblings going to therapy, and like I'm on medication and it's all through our insurance, and I went to the doctor. So I'm really, really grateful for the experience that I had. But yeah, just especially touching on how it is for men. I think it's unfortunate because it's still rooted in misogyny. The patriarchy negatively affects everyone. Yeah, because if you're seen as weak when you cry or talk about your mental health, but that's fine for women because they are weak. Like men are negatively, like that's still like the patriarchy and misogyny, but men are still like not benefiting from that. So it's just really unfortunate, like everyone should have access to mental health care and help. Like your gender literally has nothing to do with your ability to have a mental illness. Like that's just so upsetting. And then I thought it was really interesting that we brought up Gen X. I think that's fascinating. My parents are both Gen X. They were born in like the late 70s. I guess my dad was born in 76. Okay, did anyone else have this realization at one point that like your parents were born in the 70s or the 60s or the 80s or whenever they were born? Like when I think of the 70s, like that is not the decade my parents were born, but it is. How do you feel about surface level self-care in the wellness community? Yes, people try to use this as a band-aid solution, and I feel that it's recommended too often over therapy and self-work. And they can be useful tools to help get someone into a mindset where they can do that. A lot of surface-level self-care practices can be reframed as a mindfulness and intuition practice. go shopping, and spend money on things that are actually adding value to your life. If your body is craving that one food you haven't had in a while, eat it. Caring for your own body and mind can help you start learning to prioritize and set boundaries with yourself, and once that's done, you can start doing that with others too. I'm insulted that you put exercise as surface level because it's most definitely cellular. But yoga, I'm a brick. Spa day? If your skin is weak, then yeah, whatever keeps it on, I guess. But I mean, someone isn't out to kill you if you don't do good surface level care. But with exercise, at least 30 minutes a day of sweaty time, your heart will thank you unless you have a condition. We didn't evolve to sit around all day, so use it while we still have it. There's plenty of research on the benefit of exercise. I put it on par with sleep and food in terms of necessity. If you're unfit, that's good. You'll get worked up and pumping much faster from a jog than someone who can run 10 miles a day. Also, with exercise, if you're mindful, you can also increase your kinesthetic and spatial awareness, as well as get to know your body. This was one of my favorites. This was actually, there's like some controversy here. I wouldn't say that like my questions get too controversial just because like I know my audience, and a lot of the time everyone has the same response, even if it's like a controversial question, which is great. I have a very like similar minded following, which is like not intentionally. I'd love to get some disagreement up in here, but I don't know if that's true. I don't know how great that would be for my mental health, but I would enjoy it at least, like being the moderator. Oh, so fun. I love these discussions, like I literally live for it. But yeah, no, this one was really interesting because a couple people were coming to the defense of the surface level solutions. And I think kind of the misunderstanding that happened here was the way I phrased the question was perhaps not making it clear that I was like, how do you feel about this as people's recommendation for the solution period to mental illness? And I think for a lot of people, they were like, well, no, like exercise is really helpful. And like, why did you group that in with like the Band-Aid solutions when that's like scientifically good for you? And it so is. Like, I've definitely benefited from exercise, and I included this in my Instagram story responses and everything. But yeah, like I think just where I was going with that, and where a lot of other people in the responses went with that was that when you recommend exercise, when you recommend these things as a blanket solution for depression, anxiety, just don't be stressed, go exercise. Like, yes, it's so good for you. Yoga is so good for you. Spa days are so good for you. But in the end, like, my medication decreased my panic attacks. Exercise did not, you know? So I think it's like a really good balance. You definitely need both. But it was really interesting to see a lot of people coming to the defense of exercise. And I totally agree. It was a really interesting conversation. I was living for it. Who is your favorite mental health creator, or just a creator who positively affects your mental health? So, if you're pressed that I'm about to skip Wednesday, I'm sorry. Chronologically does not work out in my brain. Like, it's making my brain a little upset that I'm doing this. But I basically just asked people what their favorite creators were. I put it on my Instagram story, so there's a highlight about it in my Instagram, so you should go check it out. I'm not going to include it here just because it's like a bunch of creators, but you can see it in my Instagram stories. So, what is your mental health intersectionality? Having a chronic illness definitely exacerbates my anxiety at times, because I'm constantly worried about experiencing another flare-up or having issues with getting the medications that I need. Being queer also adds to that anxiety, especially because I'm not out to my close family, so I worry that they're going to find out before I get the courage to tell them myself. Of course, my sexuality, but also my autism. Though it is a neurological disorder, autistic people face extremely high rates of anxiety and depression from the societal stigma interacting with their behaviors. This has caused a lot of trauma for me growing up and is something that still penetrates every part of my mental health journey. My family. Enough said. Development in my family life drastically affects mental development and health, emotional health and intelligence, financial stability, physical health, and so much more. So I think for many it's family life. Chronic illness, sexuality, work. There was a lot here. And it was very relatable. I don't have a chronic illness, so I can't relate to that. That is absolutely something that would so affect your mental health, but like just the stress of that. Work really affects your mental health, depends on what you're doing. Sexuality, like hello. Queer youth have like some of the worst mental health and the highest risk of suicide than any other generation or group of people. Family life has a drastic impact on your mental health. It really does. Because that's like your safe place. That's where you're going home to. Those are your people a lot of the time. Yeah, it's a hard experience out there. Everything is interrelated and everything affects your happiness and your mental health, and it's so important to watch your energy, keep track of your energy. And yeah, I mean, a lot of these things we can't control, you know, like your sexuality, like you can't control it, obviously. You can't control the discrimination you get from it. You can control chronic illness. You can like sort of control your work to an extent, but like this responder said, like they love the work that they do. And I love my job too, but burnout is real, friends. Burnout is real. How is your mental health? How are you doing? Friday responses, I actually didn't post them. That just felt really personal for me. I was just enjoying reading through your guys' responses, and I just didn't want to go through and post them because I just enjoyed reading them and having those conversations. Got a lot of responses about how people are doing, and yeah, it made me really happy and really sad. There are a lot of people struggling. Same, I'm in that boat. If I was responding to my own question, it would not have been good. But a lot of people are thriving. I'm here for it. I'm really happy to see that. It's just so important to remember to take care of yourself first. It's easier said than done. I'm bad at it. I'll be the first to say that. But it really is a game changer. And if there's something that you can do just to put yourself first for a second, I literally just went hammocking last night. I was like, I was gonna record this video, and then I was like, I don't want to. So I did something else. And obviously you can't do that with everything, but when you can, take care of yourself. Get the help that you need. If you need to go to therapy, Psychology Today. That's how I found my therapist. Love her. If you need a psychiatrist, if you need a doctor, there's also a health professional's website if you need a nutritionist to talk through eating disorder, disordered eating, like anything like that. I got the resources for you. I will actually put them, oh my gosh, I'm gonna edit them in. I just had that thought. Thanks for coming along the thought process with me. No, but really, I just hope that everyone's doing okay. To jump into the reality of mental illness for a second. I said I would, and then all the questions went by and I was like, oh shoot, I haven't. But like, take care of yourself, man. It's okay to have an anxiety attack, and it's okay to not recover from that quickly, and it's okay to advocate for yourself that you like need a moment. Yeah, I've been really high anxiety this past week. I feel like I'm not taking my meds, but I am. So that's great. Anxiety, man, like mental illness can take a toll on your whole body. I'm so exhausted. Like I am getting so much sleep. I'm getting enough sleep. I'm just like always tired. Like this is so delicious. I'm becoming so Utah. Someone help. Anyway, I don't get it that often. It was an impulse thing. But I was like feeling that I was gonna come home and take a nap, but I had stuff I wanted to do. Like I didn't want to take a nap, but my body was like, nap time. So I got an energy drink. and I still came home and napped for 3 hours with a whole monster in my body. Like, bro. And I know I get like this when I get anxious, but man, it just like really takes a toll. Like, I can just feel myself being anxious throughout the day and like that making me exhausted. So like, if you need to advocate for yourself and go to sleep, like, it's 8:23 p.m. I'm gonna start getting ready for bed in 5 minutes. Like, it's just life. I've said no to like so many plans after 8 p.m. because I know I need to go to bed. Like, if you can advocate for yourself, do it. And if you need someone to advocate for you, call me. Like, obviously everyone's situation is different and just do what you can, but if there's anything I can do to help you out, whether that's like, I will deadass find you a therapist. Like, for real. Send me your zip code. Send me your struggles. I'll find you someone. I'll find someone that works with your insurance. Like, I got you. But, or even if you just need someone to chat with, I'm here, always. If you have my number, that's better, because my DMs can get to be a lot, especially if I have a question of the day, because that's where the responses come in and I don't read them all until the end of the day. And also my Instagram notifications are off, so I don't know why I'm offering my support like I'm some mental health guru. I just told you about how not great I've been doing, so I don't know that I would hit me up for advice, but like, I'm down. So bottom line, I hope that you're feeling a little bit more like mental health experiences are normal. Everybody's going through something. Like, for real. This generation, man, has so many problems. And I think, you know, like, we're having more exposure than ever, like more diagnoses than ever. And yeah, like, do what you gotta do for you, you know?